Well, it is 10 o'clock, so we'll start off with another long coffee break. My name is Nick Bryan. I'm a sales engineer out of the Fort Collins office. Today with me, I have Devin Fowler from Daikin Applied, who's going to be talking about our mag-bearing chillers and the effects of our new refrigerant coming through. And with that, I'll hand it over to Devin.
Thank you, Nick. As you said, I'm Devin Fowler. I am an applications engineer with Daikin Applied, working on our chiller products out of our factory in Stanton, Virginia. Today, I'm going to go over our Magnitude product line, more specifically our WME magnetic bearing chiller, and our new offerings we have with R515B refrigerant. So starting here, traditionally our WME product line is a 400 to 1600 ton magnetic bearing chiller, offering both single and dual compressor configurations. We will be expanding this product line on the lower end with our 515B offerings, and we will explain that as we go here in a little bit. The main reason that we've really pushed our magnetic offerings is to meet the market demands for energy efficiency, as well as reliability and maximum equipment uptime, the overall building sustainability, quiet chiller operation, and low maintenance by eliminating some of our oil systems. So with our Magnitude products, we're going to deliver a high efficiency drivetrain. We're going to increase our performance that we would traditionally see with an oiled centrifugal product. Do this by a couple of ways. First is going to be magnetic bearings versus oiled bearings, so we don't have any bearing losses, contact losses, and it's also going to be a little bit quieter because of those no contact bearings. We're going to offer a permanent magnet synchronous motor versus a traditional AC motor. This will be a direct drive machine with variable frequency drives and some complex controls that can give us better efficiency and better operating points as well. We don't have to worry about having gears in our system, taking an AC motor and using the gear drive to speed that up. Everything's going to be done through the VFD. Our WME chillers are on their second generation. With these, nothing's going to change in between what we currently offer with WME and R134A or R513 compared to R515B. The only thing that is going to be different is our load is going to change a little bit. We're traditionally 400 to 800 tons per compressor with WME compressors. This is a Daikin Applied design. We design and build these in-house in our Stanton factory. We're able to offer improved full and part load efficiencies when compared to a oiled centrifugal chiller. We have a wider range of applications, can use these for chilled water storage, high latent load applications, as well as low entering condenser water temperature applications. We have what we call inverted operation. We can take entering condenser water temps 5 degrees colder than our leaving evaporator water temps without the need for additional head pressure control. We can start up and operate there for as long as we can get that colder condenser water available. Gives us very good performances and a lot of times can eliminate the need for having a water side economizer on site to take advantage of those colder months. We have a regenerative power system. Gives us power to coast down our chillers, keep the bearings operational after a power loss or a power failure. What this does is allow us to turn our motor into a generator, send power back to our capacitor banks on our chillers, and keep those magnetic bearings operating and have the shaft afloat even after a power loss event so that we don't have a hard stop. All WME products are going to be powered by a separate air-cooled VFD. We will not have an onboard VFD the way we do with our WMC products using the Danfoss turbocore compressors. Some of the advantages we get with having our magnetic motors is really going to be an efficiency gain over a standard induction motor. It's only at the high end, operating from 100% speed to about 70 or 60% speed. We'll see anywhere from a 3 to 5% efficiency gain. Where these magnetic motors really shine is after you drop down below 60% speed, and even more so after 40%. We're going to pick up an additional 25 to 40% efficiency gain using a permanent magnetic motor versus a standard induction motor. These motors really shine at part load, give us really good part load efficiency values compared to what you would traditionally see with an oiled centrifugal machine. To even further these losses, or savings off of these losses, when comparing a traditional speed centrifugal compressor with a magnetic bearing and magnetic motor compressor, we can take our bearing and windage losses from around 5% to 1.5%, our motor losses from 4.7% to 2%. With a specially optimized VFDs that we use on these chillers, we can take our VFD losses from 2.4% to 2%. And with eliminating the gears in our drivetrain, we no longer have that 1% loss to the gearing. Overall, what this gives you is total usable power coming from your utility to the chiller. It goes from 86.9%, right around 87%, to a total usable power in a magnetic bearing system of 94.5%. So why is this sustainability so important? Why do we really push on our efficiency and the lack of losses in the system? About 80% of your chiller plant operating cost every year is going to be your energy cost, and the largest user of that energy in your plant is going to be your chiller. These chillers be operating now, we know, with the life cycle of anywhere from 25 to 30 years, with modern machining and modern practices in building these chillers and our controls that we have. What we're able to do is take our magnetic bearing chillers, do a very sophisticated energy analysis, let you know exactly what you're going to see in your plant when looking with a magnetic bearing chiller versus a traditional oiled chiller. See what option's right for you. Give you a life cycle based purchase decision, looking at return on investment as well as your payback period. We can take our energy, maintenance, and chiller cost, turn that into a net present value for you, and see which chiller option is going to be the best option in the long run. During normal operation, your first few years of running that chiller, you're going to get the efficiencies and the loads that you would typically see, in your ratings. But your performance is going to degrade with an oil chiller, especially within the first 5 to 10 years. Even more so as we get into 15, 20 years into the life of that chiller. A big reason for this is that the oil lubricated bearings. One, you're going to have wear on the bearings. Two, you're going to have oil contamination and degradation into your system. You really need to look at the amount of time you're going to be at low load operation with that oil degradation in your system, and what that's going to do is you get down into lower loads where that heat exchange is very important, as well as your quality of maintenance. So the magnetic bearing chiller, if everything's well maintained, you keep your tubes clean, keep that fouling to a minimum, you're going to see just about the same performance from day one as you are going to see 20 to 25 years down the line. With an oil chiller, even if it's a Daikin oil chiller, after about 5 to 10 years, you are going to see oil degradation. There's not a lot we can do to that. Oil is going to contaminate your refrigerant circuit, lower your performance that you would expect to see, and overall give you a less efficient chiller. With our magnetic bearing chillers, we're able to offer maximum uptime for what we would consider mission critical applications, such as hospitals or data centers. We do have the industry leading uptimes, fast loading times, and we are the only chiller manufacturer in the industry that can offer what we call a ride through time. On our WME chillers, we can ride through a 17-second power outage. Most backup generators are spec'd to come on within 15 seconds. So if your site does have backup generators, you're never actually going to lose that chiller. Our compressor is going to stay operational throughout that entire 17 seconds. As soon as power is restored, it's going to ramp its speed right back to where it was before power was lost and continue on like nothing happened. If you don't have backup generators, and we do go past that 17-second ride through time, we still have the fastest fast loading operations and fast restart operations in the industry. Our WME chillers can restart that compressor within 20 seconds of power being restored. And then we can be up at 80% load within 75 seconds of that compressor start, leaving you only 95 seconds after power is restored until you're back up and running with a sustainable load on your building. We are, like I said, we are the fastest in the industry at this time, and we are the only ones in the industry that offer ride through. Now we're going to expand on this product line with our 515B refrigerant operation. We have 515B refrigerant available in single compressor WMC chillers. WME 092 and WME 106 singles are available for selection and purchase in DST. Our WME dual compressor chillers will be available later this year. We are rolling these out in phases as we complete our engineering and complete our testing. All of our options and drawings for WME are going to be the same with 515B as they would be with R134A. However, you will have about a 25% capacity reduction when going from 134A to R515B. Some things to talk about before we get into the discussion on refrigerants. ASHRAE 34 classifies our refrigerants, what most of the industry uses as either A1, A2L, or B1 refrigerants. What this means is that A1, you're going to have no flame propagation and a lower toxicity. A2L will have low flammability with a low toxicity, and then B1 refrigerants are going to be no flame propagation with a higher toxicity. The current industry standards in the United States are R134A and R410A. I do understand that in Colorado, those refrigerants have been phased out due to GWP restrictions on the 1st of this year. What a lot of companies are transitioning to replace 410A is either going to be R32 or R454B. Those are A2L refrigerants, low flammability. What Daikin is doing to transition for getting out of the R134A product are both R513A and R515B, no flame propagation and low toxicity refrigerants. Looking at these R134A replacements, there's a few ways that we can classify these. The first is ASHRAE 34 classification, as I just explained. R134A, 513A, and 515B are all A1 classified refrigerants. R134A has a GWP of 1,430. We're now offering R515B with the GWP of 293 for that low GWP refrigerant, and we still do have R513A with the GWP of 631. When looking at the efficiencies of these refrigerants compared to R134A, R515B is going to have the same, if not better, efficiency than R134A. The only issue there is, like I said, we do take about a 25% capacity reduction. This is something to look at if you're wanting to do a retrofit of an old 134A machine. Depending on your size, R515B may not be the best option for you. You might want to look at R513A in order to keep that same capacity on your machines. With these capacity offerings, a WME 092 single with 515B will have a capacity range of 230 to 540 tons. The 106 singles will have a capacity range of 310 to 610 tons. This takes our traditional capacity with an 092 from 400 to 600 and a WMC 106 from 600 to 800. It does reduce it. Like I said, just something to be cognizant about. If you are going to do a retrofit application, you'll need to make sure you're going to choose the right refrigerant for that application so that you won't lose any of your total load. In general, WMC with 515B will have a 25% capacity reduction when compared to an identically sized WME machine with 134A. Our operating limits, however, do not change. We're able to keep the same entering evaporator and condenser fluids, as well as the same leaving fluid temperatures that we would have with R134A. We can have up to 85-degree water entering our evaporator and up to 70-degree water leaving our evaporator. On the condenser side, we can have up to 100-degree water entering the condenser, and we can leave out as high as 111 degrees. None of that's going to change with the new refrigerant. We can keep everything pretty much the same if we are doing a retrofit. You don't have to worry about changing your towers or changing your flows on your equipment in order to stay within these temperature limits. So in review, WME C Vintage is now offered with R515B refrigerant, single compressor models only at this time. We will have dual compressor models available later. Approximately a 25% reduction in capacity when going from R134A to R515B. We will still remain as an A1 refrigerant, but we're able to lower that GWP down to 293, giving you another option for a low GWP replacement for R134A. We'll operate within the same temperature limits as R134A. All options and configurations will remain the same within the WME-C vintage compressors. We will still offer low harmonics, rapid restore and ride through, inverted operation. You're not going to lose any of your operability within the machine itself or any of our offerings. Still, we'll keep that industry leading rapid restore and ride through time as we transition to 515B. But now what we have is a high efficiency, low GWP magnetic bearing chiller with that magnetic bearing performance and tonnage ranges not typically offered by WME. It's tonnage ranges we didn't have previously available. So if you are looking for this flagship style product in a lower tonnage than what we previously had and below 400 tons, we do have an option for you now in order to keep that rapid restore and ride through time and keep our performance and efficiency. So I'm going to hand this back over to Nick now. Thank you everybody for joining me. Hopefully you see something that's piqued your interest and we have a product that you would like to work with us on.
Thanks everyone for joining. I hope you have a good day in the wild and wonderful world of HVAC, and we'll catch you next week with where Ryan Nabalski will be talking about our Cambridge product. Thanks and take care.